My girlfriend thinks I am poor and unkempt, so she turns to an uglier man and is willing to be his third party. She thought she could achieve her dream of marrying into a wealthy family overnight. Little did they know that I was actually the real rich one. My girlfriend Sophia has been working overtime recently. She said she is in charge of a very important project and that if she completes it she will get a promotion and a raise. I was happy for her from the bottom of my heart, so I came home early from get off work every day and cooked different kinds of meals, just to ensure that she had a balanced diet. It was almost 12 o'clock when she came back tonight, and I almost fell asleep leaning on the sofa. Baby, you're back. You've worked so hard. Today I made your favorite sweet and sour pork ribs. Come and try it. She didn't share what happened today with me excitedly as usual, but just said calmly, we've eaten tonight, you can pour it out. Then he sat on the sofa, picked up the tablet and started working again. I just thought she was too tired, so I got up and went into the kitchen to heat up some milk for her. Baby, are you too tired? Drink a cup of hot milk, then take a hot bath, and I'll give you another massage. She rolled her eyes impatiently, picked up her phone and went into the bedroom. I lowered my head in disappointment, sighed, and said to myself, maybe she's too tired. I'll just have to wait until she's promoted successfully. Bite. The tablet rang, but she did not log out of WeChat. I glanced at her casually and saw her best friend Ava messaged her saying, your boyfriend Michael is always busy with cooking, his finances are so, and he's getting uglier and uglier. He's not as good as that CEO David recently. Although he's a little older than you, he's the boss. Sophia was typing away, and my heart nearly jumped into my throat as I watched. The next second she replied, let's talk about it later. My heart sank instantly. It's not like she had never thought that I was someone she could kick out at any time, even if we went from campus to society. I do all the housework at home and prepare delicious food in different ways every day just to make her feel comfortable with me. I have heard of President David. He is the client of her project. He is over 40 years old and should have a family. I smiled bitterly. She would rather interfere in other people's families than be with me? Thinking back to the fact that she had been working overtime later and later recently, I suddenly felt that it was necessary to investigate further as I had trusted her too much before. I looked through her circle of friends carefully and saw photos of her company's team building event a few days ago. Zooming in and taking a closer look, I suddenly saw a hand touching her leg under the table. It was obviously a man's hand, and she was smiling like a flower in the camera. My heart sank. She wasn't hesitating, she was actually cheating on me. While she was still on WeChat, I saved the screenshots of her and Ava on my phone, and also found President David's contact information and saved it. Looking at Sophia sleeping soundly, I curled the corners of my mouth slightly. All my dedication was rewarded with betrayal. I won't let her go easily. When I returned to the bedroom, she was already lying on the bed, browsing on her phone. When she saw me come in, a hint of disgust flashed in her eyes. Look at you. You never know how to clean yourself up. When I first got together with you, you looked clean-cut. Now you have an untidy beard and smell like cooking oil. Sophia, do you still love me? She was stunned for a moment, her face a little flustered, and then she asked again, what do you mean by asking me this? If I didn't love you, would I be with you for so many years? How many capable men wanted to be with me, and I rejected them all? Hey, do you have someone else outside? Are you saying this on purpose? I sneered, and she tried to put the blame on me, but I still had to keep pretending. I took her hand and looked at her lovingly. Sophia, you are the only one in my heart, and I just want to be with you forever. I will change what's wrong with me. Your birthday is coming soon, is there anything you like? When she heard this, she threw herself into my arms, hugged my neck and said coquettishly, thank you, honey. You don't have to spend too much. It's good enough that you are thoughtful. I'll send you the link later. I curled the corners of my mouth slightly. Of course I had to give a gift. The next day, near the end of get off work, she called and said she was going to a party and would not be eating dinner. I still left early, but not to go home to cook for her, but to wait at the door of her company. After waiting for a long time, she came down chatting and laughing with a man, and the man even pinched her face. I guess that person must be President David. I walked up quickly and shouted with a smile, Sophia. Is this President David? Hello, I am Sophia's boyfriend. I am really sorry to bother you during this period. Thank you for your care. Sophia smiled awkwardly and whispered, this is not President David, this is President Christopher. The man looked at Sophia with an unhappy expression. Sophia, who is President David? There must also be a President Chien and William. Do you think I have collected all the surnames? After saying that, he turned and left, ignoring how Sophia called out to him. I tilted my head and laughed secretly. I didn't expect my girlfriend to be able to do this. It's like an octopus in the world. Seeing that President Christopher ignored her, Sophia took out her anger on me. Michael, are you crazy? I worked so hard to get him as a client. You did this on purpose, didn't you? Are you jealous of me getting a promotion and a raise? I pouted and said aggrievedly, didn't I hear you say that you recently discussed a project and the person in charge is President David? I thought it was him. Don't you want to thank President David for taking care of you during this period of time? I deliberately emphasized the word take care of, and a hint of unnaturalness flashed across her face. What do you know? You only know how to type code on your computer every day. How can you understand these social etiquettes? Hurry up and make some money for me so I can buy some gifts to make amends. I looked at her awkwardly and stammered, I've already used the money I have on me to buy you a gift, so I don't have any extra money left. Sophia rolled her eyes at me, whispered rubbish, and then opened those loan apps. Watching her operate silently, I felt a pang of sadness in my heart. I try to give her the best life and want her not to envy other women. I am tired after a day at work, and when I get home I still have to cook, wash clothes, clean the house, and do private work until midnight, and even have to hand in my salary card. But in her eyes, I am a waste. I lowered my head to hide the anger in my eyes, and when I looked up again, I still looked at her gently. Sophia, aren't you going to have a dinner party? Where is it? I'll take you there. She glanced at me and said in a cold voice, how? Are you going to ride that broken electric bike to take me there? No need. President David will come pick me up later. Just as he finished speaking, a business car slowly drove over. The car door opened and I saw a man with a fat face and a big belly, and when he smiled he showed a mouthful of yellow teeth. Sophia, you're waiting for me downstairs so early? Are you impatient? After that, he slapped Sophia's butt in front of me. I clenched my fists, suppressed my anger, and walked forward with a smile and said, I guess this must be President David? Hello, I'm Sophia's boyfriend. Thank you very much for your care. He looked me up and down with amusement in his eyes, disdain in his eyes. Sophia, this is your boyfriend? Look at him. He didn't finish his words, but just gave a meaningful smile. Sophia flattered him, he's just a programmer, and he's never seen a boss of your level. Let's go to the party quickly, or we'll have to drink 3 glasses of wine as a punishment if we're late. After saying that, she climbed into the business car and said to me lightly, let's go. Then the car door closed and drove away. Just at the moment when the door closed, I heard her say hate in a coquettish way. It was hard not to think of 2 people doing something in the car behind my back. I slowly closed my eyes, my heart cooled down a little, and then I called a friend. Please help me check someone, and I'll send you the information later. Sophia, I just hope you don't regret it then. President David is a son-in-law who married into the family. In fact, the power in the family is controlled by his father-in-law, but he has only started to slowly delegate power in the past 2 years. If President David's father-in-law knew that his son-in-law was having an affair, he would probably kick him out of the house. My friend said sadly, if we want to meet his father-in-law, how can we meet him when we have no status? I took a deep breath and said to my friend seriously, I have actually been hiding something from you for a long time, but I have to tell you today. My family is actually Michael's family group. He looked at me in disbelief, and immediately said excitedly, then you must know Mark. He is my idol. He helped your Michael family, who was in danger, to get back on track. Now they are among the top 100 in the world. I smiled bitterly. Yes, everyone knows that my brother is excellent, so they can do without me. But when I thought about the shameful things that President David and Sophia did, I decided to give in. The party that President David took Sophia to was at a hotel owned by Michael's family. After I entered smoothly, I sat in the box upstairs and watched President David dancing with Sophia in his arms on the dance floor. President David kept stepping on her feet, but she had to smile and comfort him. It was so painful to watch this scene. The girl I once held in my arms chose to betray me because of money. Little did she know that if she stayed with me till the end, she would also be a part of Michael's family. My eyes grew colder. I quickly took a picture of the 2 of us pressed together and left. After I got back, I searched the house thoroughly and found that she had a lot of luxury goods, which she could not afford with her salary. I even found some very sexy pajamas deep in my closet that I had never seen before. Very good, he really tried his best to please President David. I sat on the bed and waited until midnight, and she came back staggering, drunk. She was lying on the bed and said to me in a mocking tone, it turns out that commercial vehicles are spacious and comfortable, unlike your electric car, which has to be exposed to the sun and rain. I looked at her deeply, my lipstick was smudged by my kisses. If I hadn't known that she was with President David tonight, she probably wouldn't have come home. Sophia, do you still love me? I asked the question again, still wondering whether I should give her another chance. But her next words shattered all my fantasies. Love? Love can make me buy brand name bags or drive luxury cars? If I hadn't thought you were pretty and had potential, I wouldn't have pursued you. Who knew you'd become such a loser now? After I attended an event with her that year, she asked someone for my contact information and attended our department's classes every day, bringing food and drinks with her. I originally found it annoying, and during college I just wanted to do experiments and research. Sophia's appearance disrupted everything. But that also added interest to my life. Gradually, I was moved by her and I took the initiative to confess my love to her. At that moment I decided to spend my whole life loving her, but unfortunately things did not go as I wished. She fell into a deep sleep, murmuring, "Michael, get me a glass of water." Even when drunk he still ordered me to do things. I smiled at myself. I have been pampered since I was a child, and for her I am willing to stay at home around the stove. Since she is so unkind, there is no need for me to cherish our old friendship. But I can't tell her my real identity yet. After all, I still want to give her a birthday surprise. So I went to David Family Company, intending to meet the chairman of David Family Company, who is also President David's father-in-law. In order to pursue President David's daughter, he tried his best and finally got married into the family, but he had to change his last name to David. Entering the lobby of David's Family Company, I found the front desk. "Hello, I would like to make an appointment to meet with your chairman. I have something important to say about his precious daughter." After a while I was invited up. "Mr. David, there is something I think you need to know." After saying that, I placed the stack of photos in front of him. In an instant, his face changed, and he asked with gritted teeth, "Who is this woman? How dare she snatch a man from my daughter? My girlfriend." He suddenly raised his head, narrowed his eyes and stared at me, and then spoke after a moment. "What is your purpose?" "I don't have any purpose. I just want to ask you if you know that your precious son-in-law is having affairs outside, cheating on your daughter, and secretly taking money and power away from others?" He was stunned, took a deep breath and said, "My daughter loved him very much back then, and she was determined to marry him. As long as they get divorced, I'll do anything. I hope you can cooperate with me. President David is not worthy of your daughter. You don't like him anyway. As for that woman, she who betrayed me must be punished." He looked at me for a moment and nodded. I felt very happy when I walked out of David's Family Company. Fortunately, it went smoothly enough. As Sophia's birthday draws closer, I feel a sense of anticipation. After I installed the micro-surveillance camera in the bedroom, I told her that I would be away on business for a few days. Then I returned to Michael's family and started taking over some things in the company, occasionally turning on the surveillance at night. Sophia was wearing sexy pajamas and posing in some coquettish postures. President David pounced on her like a hungry wolf, and the two of them made some unpleasant noises. It was over in a few minutes. After cleaning up the two people, Sophia leaned on President David's shoulder and asked, "David, when are you going to divorce that tigress at home and marry me?" "Don't be anxious, honey. Isn't my father-in-law still alive? I will divorce her as soon as that old man dies. My birthday is coming soon, you have to buy me a limited edition bag." President David turned over and pressed Sophia down with a lewd smile. "That depends on whether my baby can satisfy me." I turned off the surveillance and suppressed the anger in my heart. In all the time we have been together, I have never seen Sophia be so promiscuous. After saving the video, I called President David. "Hello, I sincerely invite you and your daughter to a party next weekend and give you a gift." When I got home, Sophia had cleaned the house. "Michael, how did I perform? Did you give me a reward for this business trip?" I raised my lips and said gently, "Yes, you will know on your birthday. I specially booked a luxurious manor for you. You can invite many people to play. You must dress up beautifully on that day. Wow, I love you so much." After saying that, she happily went to share the news with her friends. Soon the day came, I put on my suit and returned to my original look. Sophia's eyes lit up when she saw it, and she said excitedly, "When I first met you, you gave me the impression of a noble young man, and now I see you again. It's so grand. You're not going to propose to me, are you?" I smiled mysteriously. "Just wait, it will be unforgettable." When the banquet started, I stood on the stage, looked at Sophia standing beside me affectionately and said, "Sophia and I have been through a lot, from campus to work, and I am very grateful for her company. Today is her birthday, and I invite everyone to witness our love." I turned and walked to the computer next to me to operate it. The screen behind me first showed a photo of Sophia and I at school. We were both very young at that time. Until the short video of Sophia and President David was played, it was high definition and clear. The guests in the audience were instantly excited, and some even took out their cell phones to take pictures. Sophia rushed to the side, picked up the computer and smashed it on the ground, but the content on the screen was still there. Michael, you actually installed surveillance cameras at home. What a scheming person. I'm going to sue you. Okay, the worst that can happen is that I'll go to jail for a few days and pay a fine. But as for you, I will make you pay the price. I looked angrily at this woman whom I had loved for many years, but I didn't expect her to be such a dirty person. She smiled evilly, walked off the stage, took President David's arm, and said disdainfully, "Even if we break up, I will live better than you are just a waste." As soon as she finished speaking, a woman rushed up and slapped Sophia hard, pulling her hair and cursing her. Looking at President David again, he was cowering in fear, not daring to say a word. I sneered. This is the man she chose. He runs away faster than anyone else when something happens. David, save me. At this time, President David's father-in-law said, "Go get a divorce, and return the stolen money to me as soon as possible, or don't blame me for not remembering our old friendship." President David knelt on the ground and cried, begging for forgiveness from President David and his wife. Sophia said in disbelief, "How could you do this to me? Didn't you say you would use the money to marry me and make me your boss's wife?" She slapped President David like crazy, cursing. President David was so angry that he stood up and kicked Sophia to the ground, and then kicked her a few more times. Bitch! If you hadn't seduced me, how would I have ended up like this? And you're the boss lady? You don't deserve it. I stood aside and watched this farce coldly, then turned around and left silently. I gave up too much for a heartless person. This time I want to prove myself. I returned to Michael's family and officially began to take over the affairs of Michael's family, but the real power was in the hands of Mark. He was actually a child adopted by his mother from an orphanage, but was told to the outside world that he was a biological child of Michael's family. I heard that he has a younger sister. He has been looking for her for many years and only got news recently. Michael, I found my sister. I'll bring her home for dinner this weekend and introduce her to everyone. I am happy for him. Although he has lived in my house for so many years, it is better to have a blood relative by his side. So I drove to a high-end shopping mall to buy a gift for this sister whom I had never met. As soon as I entered the mall, I saw Sophia chatting and laughing with a strange man. I didn't expect that she would find her next victim so quickly. I wanted to walk past her and pretend I didn't see her, but she still called out to me. Michael, you actually came to this mall? Do you have money to come here? Do you want my boyfriend to lend you some? Ha 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 ha. After saying that, she and the man burst into laughter. I frowned and said with disdain, "Since you are in such a high-end environment, can you be quiet? You are such a shrew. But the speed with which you found the next employer really opened my eyes. Congratulations, who is the boss this time?" The man raised his head proudly and said, "Please call me William." Sophia was also very proud and said to me with disdain, "No matter how hard I try, I can never find someone better than you, and the best you can find is me." I rolled my eyes speechlessly. Why didn't I realize how stupid she was before? She was really blinded by greed. Walked right past them, ignoring Sophia and her William. After walking for a while, I could still hear Sophia laughing. He is just a poor guy, how dare he come to a place like this? Brother, you are really awesome. It's my fault that I didn't meet you earlier. Having an ex like this is really a stain on my life. I picked out a new limited edition Hermes bag, and I hope that girl will like it. The weekend soon arrived, and my parents and I were waiting at home for my brother to bring the child back. "Mom and Dad, I brought my sister back." We went out to greet him happily, and I was stunned when I saw him. How could it be Sophia? She was also startled when she saw me, and asked nervously, "Who is your brother? Why can't I see him?" "The one with my parents is my younger brother Michael." Sophia looked at me in disbelief, pointed at me and asked again. "He's your brother?" The elder brother then realized the problem and asked, "Do you two know each other?" "I don't know you, please go in quickly." After saying that, I hurried back to my room to calm myself down. Sophia never told me that she had a biological brother. I had doubts in my heart, but I couldn't tell her that I had been together in the past. After all, I had to consider my brother's feelings. I cheered myself up and prepared to eat. When my mother saw me, she joked, "Didn't you buy a bag a few days ago? Why don't you give it to your sister?" I sat at the table and said calmly, "I bought that for my girlfriend. It's not convenient to give it to someone else. Besides, my brother has money." When Sophia heard this, she immediately said to Mark in grievance, "Brother, does second brother not welcome me? Then I'd better leave." After all, this is not my home. After she stood up and prepared to leave, my brother quickly grabbed her hand and said to me with an unhappy look on his face, "Michael, did my sister offend you? Don't worry, my sister will not live at home in the future. I bought her a house in the city center." My parents also started to persuade me. "How can you be so rude to a girl? This is her first time here and look at you." I didn't say anything, but just glanced at Sophia with a half smile. She felt guilty when I looked at her and quickly lowered her head. Why wouldn't I welcome my sister? I'm very happy. But I think my girlfriend would be unhappy if I gave gifts to other members of the opposite sex. TSK, you're still a henpecked husband? Then bring your girlfriend home to see her. You've been dating for so many years but you've never brought her home. I sneered and said nothing more. How to meet them? Should I tell them directly that the girl sitting in front of me is the one who planted green grass on my head? I still need to check her identity again to prevent someone from taking advantage of the situation. Ever since Mark met Sophia, he has been taking her to travel around the country every day, and all the company's affairs fell on me. But Sophia started to sow discord in front of my mother. Aunt, was my brother kicked out by the Michael family? I saw that he didn't go to work every day. Did they stop him from working in the Michael family group? Could it be that my second brother dislikes me, so he is targeting my brother? My mother immediately found me and gave me a scolding. Are you ostracizing your brother? He finally found his sister, so what's wrong with him going out to relax for a while? He has contributed a lot to the Michael family, and now you have to shoulder the heavy responsibility. Mom, I don't have that idea. How about recruiting Sophia into the Michael family? Let her be my assistant, how about that? My mother nodded and immediately asked me to take Sophia to the company to complete the on-the-job training. She looked around in the luxury car and asked tentatively, "Why didn't you tell me earlier? We can get married right after graduation. There's no need to wait so long." I laughed at myself and said, "I am just a poor guy, how can I compare to your boss?" She stretched out her hand and rubbed my leg, then leaned close to my ear and panted, "Isn't it best to know you now? Let's make peace, I will definitely not mess around, I was just obsessed before." After saying that, he bit my earlobe. I stepped on the brakes, opened the door and pushed her out. "Take a taxi yourself. I won't reimburse you." I immediately walked away and wiped my ears hard. It was so disgusting and they smelled like saliva. It was rush hour, and she arrived just as she was getting off work. "You're late on your first day at work, and your attendance will be deducted." "Michael, I haven't even started working yet, why are you deducting my salary?" I glanced at her and saw that her delicate makeup was smudged and her eyes had dark circles. "When you come, the HR department will be off work. I will handle your employment. Also, please take a look at your image. We are a listed company. Can you buy some big brand cosmetics? Your makeup has been ruined." She screamed and hit me hard with the bag. "Michael, you are so petty. Do you remember everything I said to you before?" I covered my arm, said something, and turned away. "Beating up your boss and then deducting your medical expenses." I felt so good seeing my ex-girlfriend being humiliated in front of me, and I was even more excited when I thought that she would be my assistant in the future. She seduced me so much in the car today, which shows that anyone can do it as long as there is a lot of money. But her identity is still unknown. I have sent people to the orphanage where Mark grew up to look up information. If I find out that she is an imposter, I will make her pay back every penny she spent on Michael's family. I really doubt how Sophia managed to get a supervisor position after so many years in the society. She can even make a mistake with an ordinary document. Sophia, are you blind? You didn't even see such a huge number. If I hadn't checked it, we would have to pay millions. After saying that, I threw the folder at her and she slammed the table in dissatisfaction. Can't you afford to pay several million? Aren't you rich? I sneered and said disdainfully, it's easy for you, right? Just sleep with a few more bosses and you'll get what you want. And extort some more before you leave. No businessman is as heartless as you, right? She was so angry that her face turned red, and she stammered for a long time without saying a word. Okay, use this time to improve your business skills. I won't go easy on you just because you're Mark's sister. At this she smiled charmingly, sat on my desk, pulled up her skirt and said, we are all family, if we get married, wouldn't it be a closer relationship? When I saw her spread her legs and looking for sex, I felt nauseous and couldn't help vomiting all over her. Ah! This is so gross. Did you do this on purpose? These are the latest models, and there's only one in the whole city. I wiped my mouth and said calmly, just ask Mark to order another set for you. She gnashed her teeth and said to me, didn't you ask him to suspend my card? He said it was to train my abilities, but I think you are just holding a grudge against me. I covered my nose and waved my hands. Go to the bathroom and wash yourself first. You stink so much. I'll deduct your money. I didn't vomit, why? I curled my lips and pointed to the monitor in my corner. So who seduced me first and made me sick to my stomach? She glared at me fiercely, slammed the door and left. Not long after, I received a call from my brother. I heard that you bullied my sister? She only worked for a few days and you deducted $2,000 to $3,000 from her salary. Her position doesn't pay much to begin with. I said sarcastically, that's right, she's just an assistant, but her salary is already 2 or 3 times that of an ordinary white-collar worker, it's not high. Okay, stop treating her like this. This is the only blood relative I have. I hesitated for a moment and said seriously, brother, there are some things I'm not sure about, but I will definitely not harm you. I have doubts about her background, don't be angry, wait until I'm sure and then I'll tell you everything. He didn't say anything and hung up the phone. I knew he was angry, but I couldn't tell. If Sophia is really his sister, then my past with her will have to remain secret. If not, then I will make Sophia regret showing up in front of me again. A few days later, Sophia brought a middle-aged man who looked honest. President Michael, this is my distant uncle. Can we give him a security job? My brother thinks it's possible, but I think I still need to ask you. Seeing her sincere face, my curiosity was aroused for a moment. Okay, try being a security guard. If you can't do it, just leave. Strangely enough, I watched him for a week straight, and this guy just patrolled honestly without causing any trouble. Gradually, I calmed down and stopped paying attention. Sophia has been going to work obediently recently and keeping her distance from me. The more this happened, the more anxious I felt. Until our company's new product, which had not yet been made public, was released by our competitors first, the company lost tens of millions of dollars. Why did this happen? There must be a traitor in our company. When I said this, my eyes were fixed on Sophia. She understood what I meant and immediately started crying and defending herself. How could it be me? My level can't touch the core of the company. President Michael, please don't frame a good person. The colleagues started whispering to each other. President Michael has been targeting Sophia for a long time. It's inexplicable. Could it be that President Michael likes her? This is a deliberate way of attracting a girl's attention. I finally couldn't help it when I heard this. Now that something so serious has happened, why don't you reflect on yourself and continue to gossip? I was swearing at someone when Mark came rushing over. He pulled me aside and said in a low voice, "Don't worry about my sister, she doesn't know anything. She is very simple, not as complicated as you think. She even offered to sell her house to you to give you the subsidy. What a cruel trick, but unfortunately I won't eat it. Brother, don't interfere. I know what's going on. No matter what, there's a traitor in the company now, so you should think about it carefully." Mark pondered for a moment and said slowly, "No one except the core department and us knows about this. I always lock up those plans when I go home. Does Sophia know?" Mark was silent, and I felt disappointed. "Have you shown it to her?" He quickly explained, "How can she remember it after just one glance? They are all professional terms, she can't understand them." I sneered. "You really underestimated her. How can a woman who can make several bosses run around in circles be simple?" I called Sophia into an office alone, and she was still sobbing. "Okay, stop pretending, it's just the two of us." She looked up and around, and found that there were no cameras. Then she wiped away her tears and sat on the chair with her legs crossed. How was it? Surprised? It was indeed her. I narrowed my eyes and asked in confusion, "Mark is so good to you, why aren't you satisfied?" "I just want to see you hit rock bottom. How can the man who licked me before not continue to lick me on his knees? Why is he living a better life than me?" I raised my eyebrows and shouted to the door, "Brother, come in." Sophia was extremely flustered when she heard this. The moment she saw Mark, she knelt on the ground, hugged Mark's thighs and cried, "I'm sorry, brother, I was wrong. Can you forgive me? I can give up the house and the car, but I am your only relative." Mark closed his eyes in pain, wanting to say something but stopping himself, he just waved his hand and turned away. "Brother! You can't just ignore me. Brother!" "Okay, Mark is very disappointed in you now and won't listen to anything you say. First, tell me how you delivered it intactly. Was it because of the security guard you brought in?" She sneered, stood up and brushed the dust off her legs. "As long as you kneel down and beg me, I will tell you." I was speechless. If I caught that man, wouldn't we know everything? This woman is still as stupid as ever. I ignored her and walked out of the room and locked the door. There is one more thing you need to acknowledge, don't leave in such a hurry. Open the door. I'm calling the police. Just report it. It will help us investigate the company's affairs and her background. By the time my parents arrived at the company, the police had also arrived. Son, what happened? Why are the police here? Dad, Mom, it's okay, there was just a burglar at home. After saying that, I led my parents and the police into the room. When Sophia saw my parents, she grabbed my mother's clothes tightly as if she had seen a life-saving straw. Auntie, my second brother framed me and wants to send me to jail. I took out the freshly printed fax and handed it to my parents. To be honest, I know her. When my brother brought her back, I didn't believe she was his biological sister. I sent someone to the orphanage to ask, and then found an opportunity to do a paternity test. Sophia is not my biological sister at all. Mark just walked in, his face pale, and he staggered in front of Sophia. Did you lie to me? Her panic-stricken look was enough to prove that she had lied to Mark. But I really treat you as my brother. Every time you come back from a social event, I make you some hangover soup, remind you to put on more clothes when it's cold, and make you a midnight snack when you're hungry. I laughed so hard that tears came to my eyes. How could you still do these things? I did the same things as you did, and I treated you with such care for 3 years, and what about you? She rushed over and tried to cover my mouth, but the policeman got there first and pinned her to the ground. Ma'am, you are suspected of industrial espionage. Come back with us for investigation later. I ignored her screams and pleas and tore open the scar myself. Dad, Mom, brother, she is my girlfriend. I almost gave up my family's business for her. But she cheated on me countless times. She has seduced countless bosses from all walks of life. My parents looked at me with pity, and Mark even came forward and hugged me. I smiled bitterly. She would rather interfere in other people's families than be with me? I smiled and patted Mark's shoulder. If she is really your sister, I will keep this secret to myself for the rest of my life. I don't want her to affect our relationship. I already treat you as my own brother. Mark's eyes were red and he didn't say anything, but I knew he felt the same way. When he looked at Sophia again, his eyes were cold as ice. You lied to me, but you hurt Michael. I will never forgive you. Even if you are really my sister, I still think you are not worthy of being my sister. Police comrade, please take him away. Sophia kept begging us to let her go and she never appeared in front of us again. But I feel like she is a time bomb that will come out to disgust me from time to time, and she has violated the law. In the end, the court sentenced her to 10 years, and her best years had to be spent in prison. I went to see her. Do you regret it? She smiled miserably and touched her face nonchalantly. My face, which I was so proud of, will decay behind these high walls. Michael, I loved you, I really did. Yeah, okay, me too. I stood up and turned to leave. Before leaving, I looked back and saw her looking at me expectantly. But I regret meeting you and wasting my time. You should reform yourself. Goodbye. When I walked out of the room and heard her shrill cry, my heart tightened. This memory is also an experience for me, but I will never think of it again. Mark returned to the company, and we two brothers joined forces to create an era that belongs to us.